when I first heard of the Being Profile, it was through a webinar that the ICF, the International Coach Federation, was running. And this coach was talking about this profiling tool that was based on ontology, and my ears immediately pricked up because I hadn't heard of something like that before. So when I decided to become accredited as a Being Profile practitioner, I went into this program expecting to learn about, the ways you measure a profile, but really it was based in a whole lot of philosophy and knowledge that was so robust and complex, but also so clear around what it was there to do and what it was there to measure, that I felt that just my knowledge base around who we are as human beings and how we can measure that really grew. So I'm Lucy, I'm a leadership coach, and I work from an ontological perspective. So I love working with those people that are ready to step up, that they know that they're good at what they do, they know what they're good at, and they're ready to step up and to challenge themselves into a bigger challenge or a different role in their organization. And it's not about doing more, it's about doing differently and being different. So looking in, that's what they're ready to do, because the work I do is deep, it's transformational, that's the kind of coaching I do. So my background is I'm a psychologist and then went to work in management consulting, where I did all the people side of strategy. We worked with big organizations and mainly worked not only on setting the strategy, the business side of it, we also said, okay, what needs to happen with the people that are in this organization, how they work for that to be possible. So my main role was to help people change. And to do that, you realize that it wasn't about creating these big ideas. Every single person needed to choose to do something different and to have conversations differently and to be different in their work. So part of what I did in that space was become an ontological coach, because to create that change, to trigger that change, you needed to go to the individual. You could work with the whole team, absolutely, and the individual, each and every one of them was a key part of making that change happen. I coach because I love that from that awareness that comes through coaching around who are you, how are you showing up for people, how are you showing up for yourself, are you being true to who you want to be, are you being authentic, comes a whole lot of choice. So that's how I always frame it for clients. It's through awareness comes choice, because if you see it, if you can name it, then you can choose to do something different and be different. And that's what I want for my clients. I became an ontological coach in 2015 in Chile. I did a nearly one-year program in ontology, and it's mainly ontology of language, and it's based in a whole lot of philosophers that then I came across again when I did my Being Profile accreditation. And in Chile, it's a big thing, ontological coaching. There's a big community of it, because a lot of the main founders of ontological coaching in the world are Chilean. So Julio Laya, Rafael Echeverría, Humberto Maturana, they're all people that have contributed to ontological coaching massively in the last few years. So the Being Profile for me, when I came across it, was, wow, I can now connect the kind of coaching I'm already doing and I'm already experiencing with my clients, and start putting more content into my clients. So giving more content to my clients. So mainly it's how do I start talking at the start with my clients about what ontology is, what shows up for the human beings in terms of moods and drivers, different ways of being. So what happens to me with a lot of clients, what used to happen to me was they'd come to the coaching thinking that we were going to talk about behaviors and what are the actions and what are the results we're going to get. And when I start now with the being profile, it's totally the opposite. It's who do you need to be and what's your perspective of the world? How do you see the world? And given that, with the profile, now we can go straight into the conversation of that's going to make the biggest change around, okay, who do you need to be? What's your relationship with courage, for example? What's your relationships with vulnerability or fear and anxiety? And when they start with the being profile, they just totally shift and know what kind of conversation we're going to have. It's not around the behaviors, it's not around the actions. We'll talk about that, but the main core of it is to do with you and your relationship to a whole lot of different ways of being that come up in the profile. As a psychologist, I know there's masses of models out there and frameworks around personality types. And what I've always found that they take you to the behavior and they say, if you change this behavior, then you're going to get these results. And I've never bought into that because I think that transformation needs to go deeper. And the being profile has given me that. It's given me a conversation around who you need to be and doesn't put you in a box. There's no morality, good or bad behaviors. There's no right or wrong. It's just a photograph of who you are being today. And then from that awareness, it's, okay, who do you want to be? What are the things that aren't working for you today? And that if you tried, if you made an effort to address and to shift, what would be the impact in your life? How would your effectiveness in life change? And that's what the being profile has given me. A conversation with someone around who they are today, in this moment in time, and giving them the awareness to then choose who they want to be and what's not working for them and what is working for them and they need to keep doing more of. So I have two stories that two clients have been working with at the moment that have really, for me, made a big difference having the profile. One of them is a business owner and she's ready to step up in terms of the work that she's doing and go out and look at what kind of work she wants to do instead of just receiving whatever comes to her and taking it. And we did the being profile with her, and what she really took away was how her mood, driver, vulnerability was impacting her way of being and how she was connecting with possibilities and with people around her. So in the face of when she might be not taken seriously, or when people might not agree with what she is doing or what she wants to show the world, she's an artist, she would normally just hide and avoid those situations and just hide away from them. And for her, noticing and understanding and becoming aware of what that vulnerability, when it's present, what it does for her and what she's missing out on because of it, has really made a difference. Because today she's choosing to, even when she's feeling vulnerable and even when she might not get the answer that she wants from others, still choosing to move forward and still choosing to take action. That's it really. And that's what the being profile has shown her. So how it relates to her courage, how it relates to her assertiveness has made all the difference. So we'd had 2 coaching sessions with her, and she already had her goals around being able to step up and know what she wanted to go and achieve in terms of her business. And she also knew that there were things that were holding her back, that she was holding herself back. She was trying to do everything for everyone, and be everything for everyone also. So when we did the being profile, what it gave her was the clarity around what was the main mood or driver, as they call it in the profile, that was holding her back, and it was her relationship to vulnerability. So what she took away in that conversation, and that then sort of she was able to digest and really understand in the following weeks, was when was that vulnerability present for her? When was she avoiding to take action or have conversations? Specifically for her, it was having some conversations that she was just avoiding. And what it gave her was that clarity around, okay, when this feeling is present, when this emotion shows up, what I tend to do is avoid. What I tend to do is just defer, go away, and pretend like there's no issue, and so pretend it's not there. And what it's given her today, that clarity or that awareness, is the possibility now to choose when she's in those situations. Does she want to go away, avoid, and just leave it at that and take the cost of that? What she's realizing now is what the cost that is having on her relationships, and for her is specifically that she has given up, that she's given up on certain people that are fundamental for her success and that are fundamental for her peace of mind or happiness or what she wants to achieve. With this other client, I'd been working with him for the last 3 months. And we'd been doing all our coaching through Zoom, and one coaching session every 2 weeks. It happened all through COVID. So for him, it was a real time to challenge how he'd been doing things. And he took this opportunity that he was at home, he had a bit more time without having to do the commute, and took that time to really dive into who he was being at work and what was stopping him from achieving. He wants a different role, he wants to step up in his organization, so he wanted to understand what were those things that were stopping him. And he knew that his emotional intelligence and his ability to understand what emotions came up for him when and what they'd allowed him to do and what they stopped him from doing was a big part of his leadership, because it showed up in different ways for him. But it showed up in terms of getting really frustrated or not speaking up in meetings where he felt threatened. So one of the themes that came up and that we'd been working was vulnerability. And it was amazing to see in the profile. I didn't know the profile before I started with this client. So 3 months into the coaching with this client, we did the profile. And his relationship to vulnerability, his health score as it comes up in the profile, was a 9 out of 10. And for him, that was surprising, one, but also you could see in his face such a sense of achievement. I've worked on this. I've really been diving into what vulnerability looks like for me, what it allows me to do, what it doesn't. I've been trying to speak up even though fear and anxiety might be there, and to see that score and that so tangible for him made a real difference. And you could see like the joy, the sense of achievement for him, that he had committed to do something, committed to grow himself, and seen the result with the profile. That before the profile, I wouldn't have had a way of measuring, a way of showing him something. So it was awesome. So when I went into the program, I got 10 profiles that I could go and use to start getting accustomed and more comfortable with the profile. And I thought I'd have a bit of fun, so I used it with some clients that I'd already been coaching, and it gave us great awareness around what we'd already been working on and what still were the gaps for those people. And then I also used it in really experienced coaches that they thought their awareness was really high, or that their authenticity, of course, would be really high because they work as coaches and they work with people around all of these things. And two of those profiles I did, the coaches were really surprised and confronted, to be honest, with the results, because how come I talk to people, I coach people around awareness, around authenticity, and then my scores aren't as high, or more than my health relationship with those ways of being isn't high. And they were sort of, what is here? What is really the underlying factor that is making me, relate to these ways of being in that way? And in one specific situation, they really got to the bottom of what past experiences they were still dragging on and that they were bringing to each and every relationship that they created. So in this case, she felt that she needed to be guarded and protect herself because being too authentic was dangerous. Showing yourself as you were and open and sharing personal things, for example, with clients, that was dangerous. So she needed to protect herself and was pretty guarded with how she related. So she would put a face on, she would put this mask on of how she was supposed to be with clients, and that showed up. And it showed up also with the anxiety and the fear drivers moods. Once I became once I did the Being Profile accreditation, I went into the Thrive Coach program. That is 13 weeks of sessions once a week, where we delve into one or two ways of being, and we not only discuss what they mean, we also coach each other around them and practice and get to experience what coaching conversations would look like in those different ways of being that we're talking about in those sessions. So, and apart from those 2.5 hours on a Friday, in this case, we also have our buddy time. So we have this person that we become buddies, that we get to support each other throughout the program, and we hold each other accountable during the week around what our homework is or what we've committed to do during the week, and we get to discuss what we're learning, what we're putting into practice. And also we get coaching sessions with the person running the program. So in this case, John Smallwood, we get 45-minute coaching sessions every 2 weeks. So I think it's 6 in total, where we really just get to dive into what we want to grow in ourselves and what are the challenges that we are facing, not only as coaches, but also as human beings and as business owners, or in the case of the business owners or in your work. So before I started the Thrive coaching program, I knew I didn't want to learn more about coaching. I'd done a lot of coaching programs, and what I was looking for was two things. One was something that would allow me to go deeper in the kind of coaching I was doing. And once I knew the Being Profile, it was, okay, this is awesome. There's so much in here, but now what do I do with it? So when the offer came up, okay, you can go into a program where you can learn to coach with this profile, I was, okay, I'm in. And second, it was to do with the community. As I'm from Chile, for me, it's a big thing to be able to create a community of other coaches that are like-minded and that are interested in the same kind of conversations that I am. And I haven't come across that many coaches in Australia that know about ontology and that even coach from an ontological perspective. So that was, I guess the depth of knowing that I was going to go into a program that was going to go deep into the Being profile and allow me to go deep with my clients, that was something that definitely caught my eye. And also that community of coaches that are talking about ontology and that are talking about coaching people's way of being. What's been great for me from the community I've got through Thrive is one, that we're all around Australia, so we're in different places, and that of course has been made easier because of COVID. Like face-to-face isn't a thing at the moment. And what I got is people that were willing to have those conversations around the profile and really not only them grow themselves, but also support me in my growth and push me. And I have been pushed the last 3 months, definitely, in terms of how am I building my coaching business? Who am I connecting with? What are the goals I'm setting for myself? And one particular thing I've got out of this community is also my buddy. So I've been working with another coach, and we're quite like-minded in terms of what we want to do, how we want to work, and we've really, I feel, become, I would say, we've challenged each other and supported each other in a way that has made us both like jump a few hoops in the last few months. And with a few, I would say a lot, and have really pushed ourselves to achieve what we say we want to achieve and live up to it. Like, not only say that we're going to go and get these kinds of clients or work with these kinds of people, we've actually gone and done it. And that's thanks to the program and how it's structured around having buddies and having the fellow coaches that you work with. So with the facilitator that is a master coach, we get 45-minute coaching sessions every 2 weeks, and it's 6 coaching sessions in total where we get to talk about what our challenges are as human beings, as coaches, as business owners, or as running, whatever role you have in a company, whatever it is that you need to talk about. In terms of the Thrive program, what the big difference for me has been that in Genesis, it hasn't only supported me as a coach in terms of the kind of coaching I do, it's also supported me as a business owner. So giving me sessions with people in Genesis around how to grow my business and what are the things I need to consider when I'm looking for clients, and who do I want to work with, and then who am I best fitted to work with also. So I guess that's being very distinctive around the Thrive Coach program. I guess for me, what it's really consolidated and it's so clear for the people around me is that I'm an ontological coach. And that's the kind of coaching I do, because before I'd done a few programs and I always used the ontological coaching approach, but for everyone around me now, they're saying, okay, I get what you're doing, I get what kind of coach you do, what coaching you do, and what kind of coach you want to be. That's one. And then I guess that people I talk to casually around what I'm doing with the Thrive Coach program, they're so interesting. They're so interested because it's not many people are out there talking about these kinds of things, and they see the commitment to what I do when I say I'm doing this program, and the commitment I have with the people I coach. That I really want to bring the best to them, and they can see that by committing to do another program on a Friday afternoon. You have to be committed to growing yourself and your clients, the people you work with. There is so much information out there, and really, for me at least, the Being profile made total sense with with my background, with what I've already studied and known, and what I have chosen to keep doing as my work. So for me, I would just say that the Being profile has rounded up a whole lot of knowledge and experiences that I can now sort of hone into one profile that will start the conversation, start the transformation for the person I'm having that conversation with. So it's that triggering, that starting point that will really allow the transformation and the conversations to start for the person that you're working with. I think those coaches out there that are working at a more transformational level with their clients, that they're longing for more depth, that they're longing for more awareness straight from the start around what are they going to be the key factors or triggers that if they work on those, they're going to create this big ripple effect around their effectiveness and the results that they're achieving in life. So for those coaches that want that depth and that are ready to go with their clients and take their clients to those conversations that go way beyond what they do, what they know, how they do it, and they go into who they are and how they see the world and how they relate to the world, then those coaches will definitely take so much from the profile, because it's not only the results. You think of, okay, the Being profile is going to give me these results and then I'll know and I'll have awareness around certain ways of being, but really it gives you so much content to then keep looking at it again and again around what are the main definitions in the profile that you can then go back to again and again to ask yourself questions around. So who's ever thought of peace of mind? Who thinks about courage, and who thinks about love, partnership, all that information in one that you can keep going back to as a coach and as a client, as you having the Being profile in your hands, and then going back to it again and again and asking yourself questions around those different ways of being.